Hi there. It's late February of 2018, and the big news in the world of cast iron cookware is that Lodge Cast Iron has finally restarted production of their cast iron fluted cake pan, which is simply their name for a cast iron bundt cake pan. This is good news because for the past 20 to 30 years, no one has made new cast iron bundt pans. Not Lodge, not Asian cast iron, not European, no one. And because of this, cast iron bundt pans have become extremely rare treasures, and they often sell for hundreds of dollars on eBay and with antique vendors. So now Lodge is putting this fluted cake pan back into production, and let's see how it compares with a vintage cast iron bundt pan. I'd never seen a Lodge cast iron bundt pan before in person, and I was of the impression that it was smaller than other cast iron bundt pans. And I'm glad to be mistaken about this. If anything, this vintage bundt pan is only about half an inch taller than the Lodge pan. With a weight of 9 pounds 5 ounces, this vintage pan does weigh noticeably more than the 8.5 pound Lodge. But the vintage pan has very rough casting, especially on the top. And meanwhile, the design of the Lodge pan is much more angled and less rounded than the vintage pan. And the vintage pan, most importantly, has no handles at all, while the Lodge pan has very pronounced handles. And this in itself suggests the Lodge pan is a bargain for anyone who's looking for a first-class cast iron bundt pan. And so, let's put the Lodge pan through its paces and make a chocolate fudge cake with ricotta cheese.
When baking a cake in cast iron, I've become fond of a method of preheating the pan without greasing it first. And so we place the bundt pan into the oven and heat it to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. This may seem like a high temperature, but this is done to give the cake an outer crust and prevent sticking. And while the pan is heating in the oven, there's plenty of time to prepare our ingredients. I'm amused by all of those sitcoms that show the husband destroying the kitchen while trying to make a cake, because a cake made from scratch is actually very easy. As you can see, the ingredients are being mixed together in a single bowl, and even if you don't have a heavy-duty mixer, a hand mixer will work just fine for preparing the batter. To make a thick fudge cake, many recipes use sour cream or yogurt, but one delicious option is to use 1 cup of ricotta cheese. Then, all we have to do is mix it together into a thick batter. Once the batter is ready, we remove the hot cast iron pan from the oven. We add a heaping tablespoon of Crisco shortening to the pan and use a basting brush to cover every bit of the inside with oil. All we do now is add the extra oil to the batter and mix it in. Now we add the batter to the pan and use a rubber spatula to spread the batter and level it off. And from here, the pan goes into the oven. As soon as the pan is in the oven, we turn the oven temperature down to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. This will let the temperature decrease as the cake bakes. After baking for 50 minutes, the cake is ready. Now we let the cake rest for 20 minutes.
And this is clean. This cake is done.
And after resting for 20 minutes, we use a thin spatula to release the cake. Then we flip it, and now comes the moment of truth.
success.
And it came out of the pan nearly spotless. Now we only have to let the cake cool off and prepare a chocolate topping for the cake. This is no more than melting butter and mixing in semi-sweet chocolate chips, then mixing in powdered sugar. It took a long time before I could prepare a cake topping that didn't have lumps in it. This is why it's necessary to sift the powdered sugar as we add it to the pan. We add milk a little bit at a time to thin the chocolate and bring it to the right consistency. Then we're finally ready to top our cake and serve it. And this is the Lodge cast iron fluted cake pan. Reportedly, Lodge will be producing this for a year, so it may not be around for a long time, and then cast iron bundt pans will once again be extremely rare collector's items. I'm glad we have this opportunity at least to get an affordable cast iron bundt pan, and as far as quality goes, this one is unquestionably a must-have kitchen item for anyone who bakes. I hope you've enjoyed this, and thank you for watching.